Welcome to CV Overland. My name's Chelsea. Along with my husband Blake, come along on an overlanding journey inside the creepy abandoned town of Swansea in Arizona. In this episode, we'll explore the ghost town and give a little peek of what it's like living out of our Jeep and Overland trailer.
We arrive at camp at dusk.
Hey, there's still light.
That's an improvement.
Bit counts.
Just hitching up. Stopped off on Shea Road last night. It's kind of an entrance to a bunch of the trail system outside of Parker, Arizona. And was just camped here for the night. It's a lot of teamwork.
With the trailer hitched up and not knowing what terrain lay ahead, we disconnected the sway bars for better articulation of the suspension for off-road travel. Along with disconnecting the sway bars, airing down the tires is equally as important when traveling off-road. This allows for the tires to slightly squish along the terrain ahead and for a more enjoyable, comfortable ride.
Down the tires, hit the dirt, headed out to the Swansea mine. Looks like an old abandoned mine town, operated for looks like about 20 years, turn of the century, 1902 to early 20s. It's like right now a graded dirt road, headed up on our way out there. Keep you posted. It's Charlie watching Chelsea run up the trail to get these shots around these awesome corners out here. What do you think, bud? Should we go get her? Let's go.
Found in La Paz County, just a couple miles away from the Bill Williams River, the ruins of Swansea are literally located right in the middle of nowhere. The town sits about 30 miles from Parker, and unless you hike, there are only two ways to get here. It doesn't seem too far until you consider the quality of roads that lead you to the town. A good chunk of it amounts to some rather rough dirt roads, while some of the areas of the trail are questionable. Some parts can be washed out by the rain, and most areas are narrow. A trip here could take 1 to 3 hours one way, depending on how you drive, or on how long it takes for you to soak up the beauty. Everyone, welcome to Swansea. Prospecting and mining first began in this area in 1862, and 46 years later, 2 miners built a 350-ton furnace, a water pipeline to the Bill Williams River, and hosts for 5 mine shafts. Because of the remote location of the site and the lack of transportation, mining activity started slowly. Most of the ore was sent to Swansea, South Wales in the United Kingdom. The ore was shipped via the railroad to the Colorado River, then to the coast of California, where it was transferred to freighters to its destination in Wales. Once the smelter was constructed here in 1909, Swansea town site took its name from the location they had shipped ore to overseas. Blake and I couldn't wait to explore, but the sun was setting and we needed to set up camp. In the town site of Swansea, there are designated camping areas, one right next to the mine, next to the old railroad. We picked the one next to the company houses. It had a perfect view of the mountains in the background, just high enough above the wash that we weren't afraid of coyotes or other wildlife sneaking up on us at camp. With making it to camp early, before dark, we made sure to enjoy the sunset and soak it all in. Good morning, guys. I'm just out here exploring these old company houses this morning while Blake is making coffee. We're gonna load up the dogs and go see what more Swansea has in store for us to explore today. But first, let's check out these homes. The town was short-lived, and these company homes were not lived in for very long. You can still walk around and see the stone foundations of where the homes used to be. By 1911, the Clara Constellated Gold and Copper Mining Company was in financial trouble. The company collapsed in 1912, closing down the mines. With new owners starting in 1914, the mining operations were building up the town once again. Swansea lived on until just after World War I, when the copper prices dropped and the town went into a steep decline. Swansea's post office was discontinued on June 28, 1924, and the population dispersed. By 1937, the mine shut down and Swansea was already a ghost town.
It's pretty cool walking around the Swansea, one of the mines. There's copper all over on the ground. And over here, capped off mine shaft. Don't crawl in those. What do you think?
This is neat.
100 years ago? Same spot.
green this is. I just spit on it. It's so green though.
Another camp spot up here too. It was getting dark when we got here last time.
That is cool.
Yeah. The dust chamber. This landmark brick building was part of the smelting process used to extract copper and small amounts of other metals from the refining process. The hot stack gases, dust, and smoke from the smelters were blown into the structure and returned to the smelter. Waste gas, dust, and smoke exited through the stack at the rear end of this building. 3 large water tanks stood at the hill on the south side of the dust chamber. Some estimates say as much as 400,000 gallons of water per day were required for the smelter and town operations.
Some of the housing, employees.
Today, Swansea is under the protection of the Bureau of Land Management and constitutes the Swansea Townsite Special Management Area. Due to the vandalism and the exposure to the weather, the remains of Swansea are in decline. However, you can still see a number of adobe structures and the remains of the railroad depot and other mine shafts. Remains of numerous cars can be scattered throughout the site. The Bureau of Land Management has restored the roofs to rows of single miners' quarters, as we see here. Which house do you want to sleep in tonight?
Which one's gonna be home?
I think this one, because there's still a bed in here. It was like everywhere we turned, there was a piece of history. During Swansea's peak years, the population grew to 750 people, with amenities like an electric company, auto dealer, lumber company, a saloon, theaters, and more. Blake and I walked around, looking at all of the remains of the town and trying to step back and see what it would have been like to be back in 1911.
Alright, so we just had a little walk around the housing. Stopped off at the general offices. I'm gonna go pick Chelsea up at the store. What do you think, Charlie? He cracks me up. Chelsea's out hiking around this mess hall in Swansea town site, and I am looking at our route for tomorrow on Gaia GPS. Gonna try and connect this trail to McGuffey Cabin down by the Bill Williams River, and then depending on which direction we're gonna go, we can either ford the river or connect to some other trails. So
It's okay. It's okay.
So we are Swansea. How's your Cheerios, buddy?
Happy as can be.
Blue, you want Cheerio? Yeah? Oh, Cheerio.
Good girl. Good boy, Chuck.
So we're gonna head out of here. Got a couple ways to go.
What are you making?
Spam and eggs, which is cool for me because I'm allergic to dairy and eggs. These guys make eggs that aren't eggs. So a lot of the stuff that we found in the last few years has been really cool. Everything from cheese, vegan cheese, thanks vegans, I'm not vegan, but gives me cheese and eggs now. So we get scrambled eggs and Spam for breakfast. Everybody's having breakfast.
Our time in this creepy little abandoned ghost town was coming to an end. Swansea, you were definitely one for the memory books. With everything loaded up, we hit the trail. We took a few seconds to take in this view. If we would have known this would have been our last full trip for a while, we would have stayed there a little bit longer. After blowing our diff at the Torona Pinnacles, 4 months later, we are finally putting parts together and tearing apart the Fox to rebuild it and give it a new heartbeat. Thank you for everybody who has supported us along the way on our GoFundMe page. We can't wait to get out here and make more adventures and memories with you. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. We'll see you down the road.